Rob, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us. And you've got a new game.
I do.
SeaFall. This is the legacy format, which Rob is known for pioneering. And I gotta say, we got here at GenCon, we got here early, press hour, and I think it was already sold out.
It went fast. The game is in production now, like either on a ship or getting on a ship. I don't have access to that.
Right.
So they airshipped in, like 140. Put them on planes. They like flew coach.
It was just
over
a
here.
madhouse.
So there was a very limited amount, and they went like in 20 minutes.
Well, there's obviously a huge demand for this game, and I think it comes from the legacy format that you've kind of pioneered, as I said, over the years, starting with Risk and moving into Pandemic Legacy. Now, this is the first game that you've done that is legacy from the bottom up.
Yeah, it took a while.
So what was that process like? So how long have you really been working on this kind of a concept?
I had the idea about 4 years ago, and I finished the design this January. It's about 3.5 years almost of working on it, because I had to design like a rich game and a rich engine, and then make it so you could play it over about 15 games and have it change without falling apart. Incredible. And I did that really, really poorly for about 1.5 years until I started to figure out how to do it well.
Yeah. What is why legacy? Like, where did this format come from?
It was a crazy idea, and I never ever thought it would end up being successful, let alone wildly successful. So I'm still getting my head around that.
Yeah.
I was a big role player growing up.
Nice.
Right, role playing, you pick up and you start your next session like, okay, where were we? Oh, we were in a tavern, and you get magical items, you write them on your sheet, and they carry over. And you get wounds and scars, and you level up. And so I wasn't consciously thinking of that, but it was somehow like that idea of, well, what if you do something in one game, and then when you start the next game, what you did in the last game had some effect. Not completely.
Yeah.
Now, it's not one long game. The game largely resets, but you're in a different place you were before. I just thought that sounded terrifying and kind of cool. And as I played around with it for Risk, I like, oh, now since we're introducing new things, I can have parts that are sealed off that you open up from having triggers. That actually came from video games, where the idea was, in video games you often have a tutorial level. It's like, let's jump over 18 things for no reason.
Right.
So it's like you can ease people in with new rules. You can make finding new rules fun, not a chore. And then it's just kind of gone from there, and then I realized, wow, this is a great storytelling device.
And it seems interesting that with these legacy games, like if I go to your house and play your copy of SeaFall, as opposed to you coming to my house and playing my copy, they're likely to be different, right?
Yes.
When we bust those games open. And that provides like this cool element of ownership of your game, right?
That's really the idea. Like, you write on the board, you name characters. Things will be in your world that we'll probably have all the same stuff by the very end, but not in the same order, and not in the same place. So you may have an island that just produces a ton of iron, and I look at it and go, oh, that island in my world is over here, and it's filled with spice.
Very cool.
Right, and so, it's like everyone's world will be different, everyone's history will have common sort of touch points, but will be completely unique to that group.
So tell us about SeaFall. How does this game function, and what's the basic kind of premise of it?
The very, very short version is it's Indiana Jones in the 17th century.
Wow.
Right,
okay.
so that's the very short thing. It doesn't start out that way. When you play the prologue, you're like, I was promised Indiana Jones. Like, no, we're teaching you the rules and how to move around. You play the leader of a province, and there are 3 to 5 players, and these provinces were once part of an empire, and you are trying to gain glory for your province, and you do that by exploring or raiding either the islands or other players, buying and selling like a merchant, or building up buildings and making your ships better.
Yeah.
And each of these things will gain you glory, and you'll go out into the world, and the board starts out largely empty. You got a few islands that you know about, but like 2/3 of the board is just open sea, and as you play, you're going to find new fun stuff to go out. And then you play to a certain level of glory in a game, and then you write it down, and much like a bowling score, on the back you start to get this aggregate of all of your scores, and by the end, whoever has the most glory unifies the provinces under your heel.
And essentially, we're after 15 plays?
About 15 plays, about 15.
Wow, so this is the kind of thing that a group could get together and, even over the course of a year, kind of play this out.
Sure, each game is 2 hours. Like, if you're a 5-player, it might even be like 2.5, so this is something to be savored. I know, like, Pandemic plays in Pandemic Legacy in 45 minutes, maybe an hour, so you can kind of binge it like Netflix. Yeah. We're like, I'm going to play this in one weekend. I'm like, no, don't do that. You will not like it after like the 3rd game. Like, take it out once a week and, and savor it.
Well, so we talk a lot about, when we talk about board games, obviously there's different points where we differentiate, and mechanics is an obvious one, right?
Yep.
How the game actually feels and plays. So can you run us through a few of the mechanics that you would be engaging in SeaFall?
I can. I'll try to keep it top level. There's a number of little things, and we have a prologue that lets you kind of play around with them without causing any problems, where you get to the end and go, oh, I realized that was a good or bad idea.
Nice. Okay, so
good
kind
to
of
know.
A warm-up.
You got like a
into the
warm-up,
system.
which lets you explore the world a little bit and get a sense of the mechanics. But in general, you, on your turn, will pick one of the 4 guilds,
Okay.
and then you do 2 out of the 3 actions for that guild. One action for all of them is just sail, move your ships to a new location.
Okay.
The second action is something you can do with your ships. The third action for each guild is something you can do without your ship.
Nice.
So the explorers let you either explore an area or build up research for a different explorer. The military lets you either raid something or just tax your peasants for more gold.
Right.
The merchant guild lets you buy or sell goods, and the builders guild lets you either improve your ships or build a building back at home.
And you're shifting your alliances between these different guilds to, each turn.
Each turn you pick a guild and you're like, you're working for me. And then there's an advisor deck with different advisors that you get to name, and you get to train actually in between games. They will get better at some things that you choose, so that's another way where your world will be very different.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start out with the same advisor, and it'll be Doug in your world and Henri in my world. In your world, he'll be a savage pirate. In my world, it's like, well, he's a little pirate, but he's more of a merchant.
Beautiful.
Right, so these advisors you bring in and out to boost your turns.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of stuff I can't talk about, because that's one of the things about legacy games is in here there are, I think running along the top, 6 sealed treasure chests with just an insignia on them.
Wow.
And when you get into the game, you'll do something and it'll be like, time to open this.
That's a really cool point. It feels like this is introducing the most amount of discovery into a game, because you deal with board games, you've played them a few times, you kind of understand how it's going to function, how it's going to play out. So really the legacy game and kind of what you're pioneering here is introducing that sense of we get to explore the unknown in a very real way as we play through this thing.
Yeah, when I did Risk Legacy, I really underestimated the allure and the draw of the sealed packets.
Yeah.
In my mind, I thought, well, people are going to play to win, but then if they're not winning, maybe they'll do it. And when I realized people became fixated, they're like presents under a Christmas tree.
Oh, it's so cool.
Right, you just wanted to open them. I'm like, well, you want exploration in the unknown? Here we go. And so there's a chapter book in here, like where you read it and you get a choice, like a choose your own adventure, that has 430 entries. And you won't see them all because you're going to pick A and you're not going to pick B and you don't know where it goes. And there are, I don't know, 80 or 100 different sites to choose and islands to find and a lot of other secret stuff.
That's beautiful, Rob. Well, I'll let you get back to I know you're demoing SeaFall here today. I don't want to take you away from that.
No, thank you.
The only thing that I'll ask you is, I like to ask designers essentially, how do you want your players to feel whenever they play the game of SeaFall?
Oh, I want you to feel like Indiana Jones in the 17th century. I want you to go out and feel the sea on your face, be surprised, be delighted, unexpectedly raid your friend to capture the win, amass a pile of gold. Yeah. Right? I want it to just be high adventure.
Well, that's what I'm looking forward to. Thank you so much, Rob.
All right, thank you.
This is SeaFall. We're here at GenCon 2016. We got more coming. Stay tuned.